The concept of a republic is not alien to India, as there are evidences of its existence in ancient times. But a truly democratic republic came into existence only after India became independent. After centuries of despotic rule, both alien and indigenous, India had the chance of adopting a truly representative democracy guaranteed by a constitution. Though a lot has been borrowed from the earlier Government of India Act of 1935, the present constitution has a lot of new features. But the reason for adopting the British parliamentary system was because of the familiarity of both the electors and elected of the working of a democratic government. The Indian Constitution was the handiwork of the first Constituent Assembly formed in July 1946. The president of this august body was Sri Rajendra Prasad, who later became the first president of the Republic. The arduous task of framing the Constitution was entrusted to Sri Bhimrao Ambedkar, who was chairman of the drafting committee. He was ably assisted by jurist Benegal N. Rao, who was a constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly and was delegated the task of studying the constitutions of several countries. It took nearly 2 years and 11 months to prepare the draft constitution, and it was discussed threadbare. Legal luminaries like Gopalaswamy Iyengar, K.M. Munshi, Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer actively participated in the debates. The original constitution, which came into force, had 395 articles and 8 schedules. While presenting the draft constitution, Bhimrao Ambedkar remarked, "If the constitution did not work, we should say not that it had failed, but that man is vile." His confidence in the constitution was because it contained provisions which were intended to protect the rights of the individual. The constitution starts by enunciating the preamble, which proclaims the aims and objectives of the document and is not something which is enforceable by law. The soul of the constitution is the fundamental right which guarantees equality, absence of discrimination, eradication of untouchability, freedom to believe, protection of minorities, and abolition of titles. No right which guarantees individual freedom is complete without a right to constitutional remedies. The Supreme Court was entrusted with safeguarding the freedom of the individual, for which there are 5 writs available. They are habeas corpus, an order to physically present an individual before the court within 24 hours of arrest; mandamus, a directive issued to an individual, office or court to carry out their duties; prohibition, orders issued to an inferior court to stop acting outside their jurisdiction; quo warranto, demanding on what authority power is being claimed and exercised; certiorari, higher court taking over a case from a lower court. The directive principles of state policy in the Constitution are merely guidelines for the government to implement programs for the overall good of the people. Uniform Civil Code is one such example. This concept was borrowed from the Constitution of Ireland. A later addition to the Constitution was the inclusion of 10 fundamental duties, which was borrowed from the Soviet Constitution. Though based on Westminster model of parliamentary democracy, Indian Constitution is different from the British in many ways. India has a written constitution, but British constitution is unwritten. India is a republic, but Britain has a monarchy. India has a quasi-federal setup, but Britain has a unitary government. Presently, the constitution contains 444 articles and 12 schedules, which reveals its flexible nature. There was, however, dissenting opinion against the constitution too. Marxist leader E.M.S. Namboodiripad, for example, denounced the constitution as an instrument of bourgeois institutions, and Dravidian movement leader E.V. Ramaswamy Naicker viewed it as an obstacle to the formation of Dravid Nadu. To the critics and doubting Thomases of Indian constitution, the eminent jurist Nanipal Kiwala had this rejoinder: "It is not the constitution which has failed the people, it is our chosen representatives who have failed the constitution." This statement contains the echo of a statesman who commented on a similar vein more than 250 years ago. It was said by Benjamin Franklin, who said, "You have a republic if you can keep it." Let us now consider the main features of the Indian Constitution. The Indian Constitution is a written one, and the values are enshrined in the preamble, the fundamental rights and the directive principles. The basic values that are cherished are as follows: sovereignty, socialism, secularism, democracy, republican character, justice, liberty, equality and fraternity, dignity of the individual, and last but not the least, unity and integrity of the nation. The Constitution assures the citizens of India of the following fundamental rights. Article 14 to 18 ensures right to equality before law, which includes prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, which includes abolition of untouchability and abolition of titles. Articles 19 to 22 ensures right to freedom. These articles are intended to protect certain rights regarding freedom of speech, etc., and protection of life and personal liberty. Articles 22 to 24 ensures rights against exploitation. These articles ensure that there would be no trafficking in human beings and forced labor, prohibition of employment of children in factories and other such exploitative actions. Right to freedom of religion is enshrined in Article 25 to 28. These articles ensure freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of religion, freedom to manage religious affairs, freedom as to payment of taxes for promotion of any particular religion, freedom as to attendance of religious instructions or religious worship, etc. Articles 29 to 31 ensures cultural and educational rights. These are intended to protect the interests of minorities and the rights of minorities to establish and maintain educational institutions. There are also the directive principles of state policy, which are merely guidelines for the government at the center and the state to follow when it enacts its policies. The Constitution provides for a strong center, and though it is quasi-federal, it has the strength of a unitary government and the flexibility of a federal one. The Constitution also adopts a parliamentary form of government and is secular in its outlook. The most important, however, happens to be the provision for an independent judiciary. There are also several special provisions for backward classes and minorities, and also schemes for universal adult franchise.